Hey guys, Timothy Roberts here. In this video, I'm going to do a cymbal spotlight on this 22-inch ride. All right, so this cymbal is a totally unlathed cymbal, top and bottom. It has zero burnishing, which is a process I normally do. So as you get right up to it, you see no grooves or like scratches cut into the metal. It is just a hammered cymbal. Nothing else. It's got a pressed bell that I've hammered. But there is quite a bit, pull it off again, there's quite a bit of space in between the hammer marks, and even out near the edge you can see a lot of, or a fair amount of unprocessed bronze. Now with an unlathed cymbal, I've said this in other videos, I typically don't like them because they have a pretty boring sound in my opinion, unless they're done in a very particular way. The oxide crust on the cymbal is really reining in spread, reining in shimmer and wash, and creating a dry sound. But that dry sound also sacrifices what I call sibilance, or top end frequencies, shimmer, glassiness, that kind of stuff that I almost always want to hear that in a cymbal. I don't find that many Turk style or unlathed cymbals have that. And so the Foundation series, which is the series of cymbals I make that utilize an unlathed crust, I'm always doing something, whether it's lathing the bottom, scratch pass on the top, whatever it is. I'm always doing something to try to introduce in high frequency shimmer and spread. This one has none of that. It's just hammering. And the reason I initially went with this direction was because I loved the look of the blank. It has all these cool colors in it. It's got purples, it's got reds, it's got oranges, it's got blue, and then obviously brown. And so I was really loving the way that the blank looked. And I thought, well, if I burnish over top of that, then it's gonna kind of mute that look. So it was totally an aesthetic thing at first. But then I started thinking through, okay, well, if I'm gonna do that, I've got to think of a new way to sort of introduce the characteristics that I want to hear in an unlathed cymbal. So I thought, okay, well, I need to make sure that there's a nice trajectory up towards the bell. I don't want to build out the edges so that there's a lot of curvature out in the outer half of the cymbal, because that will get it built up in a way that's going to totally kill any of that high-end frequency shimmer and spread. I've said it with a lot of umbrella cymbals, they sound like you're putting your hand over your mouth, and they just have a kind of a mid-rangey, sort of annoyingly ugly, bland sound, unless they're done in a way that adds in or introduces the shimmer. And it can be done in millions of ways. There's tons of caveats. It's just why I typically don't love unlathed cymbals. And so I knew, okay, it's got to have a nice trajectory all the way up to the bell. It can't be too curved at the edge. So there's a lot of space in between the hammer strikes, so that unprocessed bronze, it is being stretched and pulled by all the hammer strokes around the unprocessed material, but it is not compressed in the same way that a hammered portion is. So it has more ability to produce air, produce spread, produce high frequencies. So I didn't want it to be super low either, so it had to have a nice shape with spread between unprocessed material. It had to be more curved up near the bell so that it had a nice trajectory. And then I wanted to do this hard line of hammering around the edge to kind of contain things a little bit so that it didn't just sound too wild. It's also really thin. It's 2,277 grams, and that is very thin for a 22. But because of the unlathed crust, it's kind of containing it a little bit. Because I didn't do burnishing, it's still open And it just landed in a really, really nice place, I think. So I want to know what you guys think, so drop a comment below about this cymbal. And hit the subscribe and the bell if you want notifications. And keep an eye out for the next video. My name is Timothy Roberts. Thanks so much for watching.